What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father. It's at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. Link will be in the description box below. Um, White supremacy is getting desperate, or it's on its last legs of life support. And I've been just chilling, looking at things, and I talked about this before, where I say, racism is a business. It's about money, you know, and all of this superiority is really about a money thing too. It's a social status. So all of this evil that's been done in this country for hundreds of years, it's just so people could feel like they're better than you and they got more money than you. I mean, all the other stuff is part of that situation, but you know, slavery helps the economy for white supremacy. It built the economy for white supremacy. It also oppression maintained the economy. But now it looks like white supremacy blew it, and people was tripping last year with the Brexit thing, and then if Brexit could broke up the way it did, or Brexit happened the way it did, then it became a well, if this can happen with them, I guess it's a possibility that Trump could win. And here's the thing, I wasn't a believer that Trump could win because I was just a firm believer that white women have been championing feminism for so long that they was going to vote for Hillary Clinton. How dumb was I? That didn't happen. So now we're in a situation where, you know, with 8 years of Barack Obama in America and all the quote unquote hope and change and people are losing their minds because that's a different dynamic to have a black guy in the White House, right? And to go from that to Donald Trump, but during the whole time it was all a racism and racist outbursts of, you know, police brutality, cop killings, vigilante killings, um, prison to school, you know, school to prison pipelines, and the hypergamy of the drug laws, and um, politicians and judges and lawyers getting caught with their hands in the cookie jar, selling kids up the river for kickbacks, and um, the part where like people still bringing up Bill Cosby, but they Stephen Collins and Charlie Sheen and damn, what was the I think it's like Corey Feldman that talked about the guys in Hollywood who were pedophiles for real, and like all of the things that white people have done, the Bundys, in Oregon, and all of this craziness. Like I can go on and on and on. Actually, you know, the Crawford situation where the people called and got him killed, and it was like nothing. Oh, that's how Tamir Rice died the same way. Um, to people, to guys walking around now. People forgot about the biker incident in Texas, where the bikers had a brawl in the Twin Peaks, killing each other, and the police came and peacefully broke it up. All of the hypocrisy that's going on with when we peacefully protest, is SWAT, and when white people peacefully protest, nobody's there, and people getting beat up and stabbed and shot and shit like that. But it happens, right? And I said it's desperate because of the money. Because now, the country's in debt. So to have white supremacy that's built on a class and a quote unquote ruling class, when that ruling class seems incompetent, not only in this country but globally, now people are acting out, and not just acting out. And I had an old video saying technology will expose racism. It's not just that people are acting out; It's the fact that you repeatedly seeing white people on code, but and completely switching up and being hypocrites, and at the same time um, being incompetent fiscally and in their own talking points and arguments and changing in this direction and changing in that direction. Well, it's very ephemeral. So there's no respect there. And one of the things that kills a person's status is when people don't respect it and they're incompetent. And you, as you see in America, this is where it has come. Like there's no fear for white Americans or white supremacy. Nobody's really afraid of white people like that. Though people want to quote unquote integrate into white supremacy and white amenities in a white class, you're seeing people just infiltrate it to get what they can get out of it, but not um, actually completely subscribe to it. They're pimping like non-white people are pimping white supremacy for a buck, and you can say they're prostituting themselves for white supremacy for a buck. It depends on who it is. But you know, the old statement of Martin Luther King, "I fear I'm integrating my people into a burning house," is becoming more and more true and more rapidly. And you're seeing the mental breakdown of racist ideology, because you got people like Richard Spencer, who's a white supremacist, but he's a fluffy little punk. You know, you would say Donald Trump's or the alt right and the Tea Party, they're white supremacists, but they're not looked at as masculine. They're looked at as um, racist white guys who are really manipulators in a power position, but because they're manipulators, they're really not respected. They're looked at as feminine because you know whether you like to admit it or not, manhood has a code no matter what race you're in. And when the men in your own race don't view you as a man because you're doing feminine things, even if you're sticking the code, it creates a wedge. Because now you're the face uh, of white supremacy and you look like a punk. You know, you jump like those type of guys have jumped on plenty of cameras. You know, you know, telling people what about black on black crime, what about Chicago? You don't put your hands on women, and you see these people punching old ladies and punching women and stabbing each other and getting into fights and stealing from each other and molesting each other's kids and their own kids and because of technology, it's story after story after story. You're seeing these teachers screwing all of these students, and you're like, and you see that the educational system sucks, even though, and you're seeing the people who benefit from nepotism and racism and white supremacy are not as intelligent, and they become incompetent because they're handicapped by white supremacy, so they're not um, actually able to be functional members of society. So now you have that problem, you know. So that's why I said it's getting desperate. It's on life support because there, you got these kids who what they mad at is it's kind of like America is like a sports team, like an NFL or NBA team. All the owners are white, so that they have their quote unquote the power structure, but they're old, rich white guys and old, rich white families who are probably going to be able to pass down that wealth in that organization down to their white offspring or sons and daughters. That's just natural. That's what you would do if you had your own kids. You can't. I can't hate on anything like that. But the problem is you keep drafting players, and now the world doesn't want to be the owner. Everybody's hero are the players. And these 10 years is, it may be 40 white guys, but it may be 200 and something black guys. That's your heroes. In the next 10 years, it's, same thing. Same thing. And it's kind of like baseball. If you notice, they tried to whiten up baseball because the black players were just too successful. The problem with that is baseball still makes its money, but now it's not America's pastime anymore. Nobody cares about it. It's predominantly white and Hispanic. And a lot of those Hispanic players black. They just black people who speak Spanish. But when it comes to the records that count, got too many black people there. You know, it ain't just Barry Bonds. It's Barry Bonds and Hank Aaron. That's the problem. Ricky Henderson has his records. That's the problem. You know, um, like I said this before, when Ozzie Smith retired, they killed baseball. It really did. When you look for what's exciting in baseball, it ain't really been exciting since Barry retired, honestly. But that's the problem that everybody's heroes, I'm going back to it, become always black. You know, for the majority, not always, but for the majority of the time, the people that America gravitates to completely, whether they want to fit stereotypes or they just that good. Even the white people that you love are emulating black people. So that's the problem. Like your identity is your respect is gone. Your competence is gone because the competence is gone because of the financial situation of this country. Well, this country is so far in debt, you can't blame anybody but white people and white supremacist mindsets. So to have slavery, Jim Crow, being able to pillage and steal from the world and wind up being broke, your credibility is completely shot because that's idiotic. Um, like I said, that's the incompetence part. And on top of that, you know, you most white supremacist people are not who you want to be. They got an image problem. Though, and you can see people still operating in it. Like, you see non-white women wanting to be white, but you don't see non-white men wanting to be white men. It's like, whatever, man. No thanks. So, and that's where, to me, the shift is just left. That ship, white supremacy has sailed. I mean, you might not be able to see it now, but to me, that ship is out to sea right now, and it ain't coming back. But I'm out.